Okay, so yesterday we have discussed about the periodic journal, where how we can create the accrual journals, uh, and we have seen the workflow. So today we will see some other different way to create the accrual journals. Okay, so in standard we have two different processes to create the accrual journals. One is with accrual scheme. Okay, so if what this accrual scheme will do, it will create for whole year at one shot and it will post the accrual directly. Okay, and the ledger impact will be straightforward, it will be done. So that is one. And second way is deferral scheme. So we will schedule the deferral schedule, and every month we will recognizing that. Okay, so we will see both the scenarios how we can do that. Okay, so first we will see the accrual scheme. So for that we need to navigate to the general ledger module. Under general ledger module we have journal setup. Under general setup we have accrual scheme. Okay, so at here what we will do, we will create new accrual scheme over here by clicking on new. Okay, so we will give the accrual scheme identification and the name. Like for example, I'm giving for the let's imagine insurance. Okay, and at here you will select the debit account and credit account. So at here in debit side you will give your uh, accrual account. When I say accrual account, it is nothing but it's a temporary account where you will temporarily park your expenses. Like for example, if you don't know the account, in account terminology, we will use the suspense account. I hope the CA background guys they know well when we will use the suspense accounts. Okay, so similarly, we will have a temporary account. Uh, so we use that. So at here I am using insurance as prepaid insurance in debit account. Okay, let's imagine I am selecting prepaid insurance. Okay, so dynamic have a advantage. Even you search with the name, it will show the filter, and based on that you can select it. Or if you know the main account starting series, so you can filter with that particular main account number. So currently at here I'm selecting the prepaid insurance in debit side, and credit side I'm selecting my actual expenditure account, that is insurance. Okay, so at here I have selected insurance account. Okay, so once these two has been selected, you can specify the voucher series. Okay, so the voucher series should be the same for all the transaction. So we have at here three different voucher series which can be mapped. The same voucher for all the transaction, our new voucher for accrual transaction, our new voucher for accrual each accrual transaction for in transaction date. So at here when you say the same voucher for each all transaction, so whatever the transaction you are posting through JV, the voucher will be same for the accrual also. The second option is stating that there will be a two different voucher number. One is for the accrual transaction, another is for the main transaction. Okay, the main transaction in the sense when you post the invoice based on the vendor, and after that when you post the accruals will be posted with the different voucher number. Okay, the third option states that this is also same like that. So at here for each individual transaction date there will be an individual voucher number will be assigned. So we will select the third option as we want to post the different voucher number for individual transaction date. Okay, so at here you will select the number sequence code. So this is the number sequence code based on that your voucher number sequence format will be generated. So currently at here I'm selecting some random number sequence. Okay, and at here you need to provide the description. So what description you will provide over here, so that description will be shown in your accrual entries. Like for example, at here I'm updating the description as prepaid insurance accruals. Okay, so this will be on calendar basis, and the periodic frequency it will be on monthly. Okay, so you can set for the calendar basis on daily, half-yearly, quarterly, and yearly, half-yearly and yearly also. Okay, so after defining this, you will specify the number of occurrence by period. So at here we will specify for how many months we need to do this one. Okay, so for example, I want to do for the quarterly, so I will select at here quarterly, and I will give, we have 4 quarters, so I will give 4. Okay, so every quarterly this will be run. If we have monthly, I will select monthly, and at here I will give it as 12. Okay, after this we have the post transaction on day basis, weekly, monthly, or quarterly. So I will select monthly. Okay, after selecting monthly, so at here I have two other options: the posting in week, monthly, or quarterly. When you want to post this particular transaction, do you want to post this transaction by beginning of the month, or middle of the month, or end of the month? Okay, so we have this option. So it will define whether you want to post on which particular date. Okay, so at here I'm selecting end of the month. Okay, and after that we have the spend monthly and quarterly value. So for example, currently it is mentioned as evenly. Okay, so if you have mentioned evenly, then each month it will be equally split. Sorry, for each month it is equally splitted. Okay, so if you select number of days, so it will calculate based on number of days. Mostly we'll select we evenly over here. Okay, and we will click on save. So this is the main accrual scheme setup. So once this is done, then you can schedule your accruals. Okay, so now we have created the accrual scheme. So do you have any question on this particular accrual scheme configuration? If you have any doubt, please let me know.
No, Gautam.
Okay, so once this
No, Gautam.
yeah, so once this accrual scheme is configured, okay, now we can do the transaction from any of the journal. Okay, we can do this particular transaction from journal, and even from the accounts payable, invoices, invoice journal. Okay, we can do the transaction from both the places, journal also, and invoice journal also, from the accounts payable module. Okay, so at here I am clicking on new, and at here I am selecting the vendor name as AP invoice. Okay, and I am opening the lines. Okay, so at here you may notice over here, when you're selecting the journal, and when you go to the lines, by default at here the account type is ledger, right? When we are opening the vendor invoice journal, by default the account type is vendor. If you want to modify, you can modify it by selecting the account type, this drop down list, and you can modify it. Okay, so at here let me select some random vendor. Let's imagine I'm selecting 1001 ME office supplier. Okay, you will give the invoice date, Let's imagine I'm giving the invoice date as okay, I have given some older date, invoice number, and you will give the description. Okay, and at here you will give the credit side amount. Let's imagine I'm giving 1500. Okay, from this particular drop down you will select your expense account as uh, insurance. Okay, so at here I have given the I have updated the transaction, AP invoice transaction. Okay, at here we are booking the invoices. Okay, so at here on my credit side I have selected the vendor. On my offset account side I have selected my expense account, that is insurance. Okay, now when I post this particular transaction, it will hit my vendor account has credit and my offset account has debit. Okay, why? Because at here on my left side I have selected the account as vendor account and I have given the value as in credit. Okay, so after creating this particular transaction record, we need to go to the functions. Okay, and you can see there is a function over here. We'll click on this particular function. Okay, you can see ledger accrual. So we will click on this particular ledger accrual, and accrual identification we will select our prepaid identification, that is insurance. Okay, so once you have updated this particular accrual identification, and you will click on transaction. Okay, to view the transaction records. Now you can see that 1500 has been splitted to into 12 months equally. Let's imagine, let me calculate 1500 divided by 12, it's 125. Okay, now you can see there are two transactions with different date. I mean two lines with two different date. Okay, so 125 equally it has been splitted. And one more thing, we have given this description in our accrual setup, and that description is populating over here. Okay, so you will overview this particular information over here, and you will click on back, and you will click on OK. So once you clicked on OK, the accrual identification whatever we have created under accrual scheme, that template will be applied on this particular transaction. Okay, once it is applied, if you have workflow, you will submit to the workflow and you get it approval. Okay, after that you will post the transaction. So currently I am at here directly posting the transaction. Okay, now the transaction has been posted. Okay, so at here if I go to the voucher, so before going to voucher, so at here my vendor will be shown as credit balance and my offset account shows the debit balance. So at here if you see my offset account is insurance, right? Insurance expenses. So my accounting entry at here is insurance expense will be debit and my vendor will be credit, right? So if I go to the vouchers, okay, now you can see my prepaid insurance account is getting debited and my vendor is getting credited. Do you know the reason why it is creating in this way? Okay, now let me go okay, so now let me go a step back. Okay, now from here print post a transaction by journal, and this is the an inquiry report which we can generate directly from over here. Okay, now when I run this particular report, okay, let me make zoom it. Now you can see, so this is the actual transaction, okay, where your prepaid expense is getting debited and the vendor balance is getting created. So you can see this is two series is the vendor account vendor balance number, okay, main account number. So the first line you can see that this is AP invoice voucher series. Okay, now this is the accrual entry series. Okay, for each accrual date, like for example now at here 727. Okay, now this is another voucher number. Okay, this is another voucher number. So this is another voucher number for each individual month. Okay, if you want you can see the transaction date for each individual month and date. You can see different voucher number. Okay, now you can see for each individual month you can see the different voucher number. Okay, now at here in accrual for individual month, your prepaid insurance is getting credited and your actual expenditure account is getting debited. Okay, this accrual scheme is clear now.
Gautam, can you repeat once again? Accounts payable, like. Yes.
Okay, so my AP invoice. So at here I have given the transaction as vendor, and at here I have given as insurance 1500. Okay, so if you see the transaction of my AP invoice, I have given my insurance debit as 1500 and my vendor as 1500. Sorry, 15,000 I have mentioned. Okay, okay, you can see at here example. Okay, so at here my vendor account 1001 is my vendor. Okay, I have given the credit balance of 1500 and in my ledger. Okay, this is my insurance account. Okay, insurance is getting debited with 1500 and my vendor is getting with credited with 1500. Let's make 1500 itself. Okay, so this is my actual entry which I have booked it. Okay, when you apply the accrual template, when you are applying the accrual template, so system what it's doing, your prepaid insurance is getting debited with 1500 and vendor balance is getting credited with 1500. Okay, now I have applied the accrual scheme and I have posted the transaction. When I go to the voucher, okay, now you can see the main account 1320 132100, that is prepaid insurance account, and this is your vendor accounts payable vendor account. Okay, that is 1500. So up to
Okay,
here it is
Gautam.
clear. Now each month accrual. For this system what it's doing, your prepaid insurance account Okay, so at here, each month accrual account, what it's doing, your insurance account is getting debited and your prepaid insurance account is credited. Okay, so at here there is a debit and there is a credit, plus or minus zero. Okay, your prepaid balance is zero. Okay, your vendor balance is zero. Okay, I mean it shows your vendor balance as 1500 itself.
Okay, Gautam.
Okay, and for this each month voucher, if you see, we have different voucher number. To view able, if you want to view the voucher for this particular accrual scheme, what should you have to do? You have to go a step back. Okay, from print, posted transaction by journal. Okay, you will click on OK. Yeah, now you can see, so this is 1500, the first one, and from here, you can see from here, USMF 001. This is the January month and date. You can see the month and date. Okay, 125, where your prepaid insurance account is getting created 125. Okay, and your insurance account is getting debited with 125. Okay, so this is one way of creating of accrual scheme. The second way of accrual scheme we have already seen, that is with the periodic journal. Okay, now we will see the third way of creating the accrual scheme. Okay, so in older system, I mean in olden days, we used to follow these two accrual scheme, but from last couple of years we are following the new accrual scheme, that is with the deferral schedule. Okay, so we will have, so there is a loophole with this particular accrual scheme. So the loophole in this particular accrual scheme is, we will post for whole year at one shot. Okay, so for future date, we cannot post the accrual in advance. So that is the loophole. I believe CA students, they know this particular conceptual. Uh, okay, so we should not post any future expenses on today itself. So let's configure this deferral schedule. How we can configure this particular deferral schedule? Okay, for that, what we have to do, let me go back to the ERP. Let me go a step back, another step back. Okay, so first we need to go to the future management. Okay, so we have a workspace called future management.
Gautam,
Yeah,
sir, the accrual entries are nothing but we record the transactions of revenues or expenses which is unbilled, right? Which are unbilled.
which are unbilled. Yes, you are right. But at here in accrual scheme, when you post the transaction, it record for whole year, right? Which is incorrect. That is the loophole.
No, but uh, we entered the invoice account, right? But the invoice account is nothing but which is we paid one, right?
No, no, no.
Invoice means already we paid the amount.
No, invoice is not paid. Okay, invoice is you, when you create the invoice for the vendor. Okay, it means that you are increasing the vendor balance until you make the payment and settling it. It doesn't mean that the invoice has been closed. There are two
Okay.
conceptual. One is invoice creation and posting. Another one is payment, and the third option is settlement. Okay. So now I have posted one particular transaction, right? It is open. For example, let me show you that also. So let me go to the vendor, all vendor. Okay. So I have selected the MA office supplier, right? So if I go to the ME supply, office supply, transaction. Okay, now you can see the last one which have the transaction which I have created with today, or let me filter with the particular date so that okay, so this is the transaction which I have posted today with this vendor. Now you can see we have a balance in currency. You can see the balance in transaction currency, balance in accounting currency. Okay, so if you have booked the invoice, it will show this balance in accounting currency and this column. Okay, if you made the payment against this particular invoice by settling it, then this balance will be zero out. Okay, and it means that you have made the payment against this particular invoice. Okay, so until you make the payment on this particular invoice, it means that still we are due to the vendor for payment. Still we didn't did the payment. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. So now I am at home page. So in home page we have a workspace called future management. Okay, uh, let me search for the future management employee. Yeah, you can see this is the future management. You can directly click this particular workspace, or even you can search from this search for a page is there, right? You can search from here future, so it will display the future management. Okay, so after opening this particular workspace, go to the all. Okay, and at here filter with, instead of begin, filter with content deferral. Okay, now you can see we have a revenue and expenses deferral. Enable this one. Mhm. Okay, so at here it's I'm not able to enabling it, it's a trial instance. Okay, let me show you in some other instance. Okay, so let me go to the future management. All. So let me filter over here with deferral. Okay, this is already this both feature has been already enabled. You can see this is a checkbox status indicates that it has been enabled. Okay, so once we will enable these two future from the future management, then a new module will be enabled inside the Dynamics. That new module name is subscription billing. Okay, so I have already enabled these two. Now I will navigate to the all modules session. From here, if I scroll down, I will find the subscription billing. Okay, in this subscription billing, you will go to the revenue and expenses deferral. Okay, we will have deferral schedule, all deferral schedule. So So at here, whatever the transaction we book through this particular deferral schedule basis, it will display over here. From here, we will do the recognition on monthly basis. Okay, so how we will do this one? So for this, we need to configure some basic setup. So let's see that basic setup, how what we need to do it. Okay, so at here, first we need to define the period, recognition period. Okay, for that you need to click on this particular revenue and expenses deferral. Okay, we have a setup. In this particular setup, you will click on deferral template. This is the first one which you will do it. So at here already have created for 12 months, okay, and days. So mostly you will create for 12 months, okay, by clicking on new. So I'm recreating it M12, that is nothing but 12 months deferral, and at here you will select the frequency as monthly, okay, and you will click on add line, and recognition for length is 12 months. Okay, in case if you want to recognize for 6 months, I mean you want to schedule it for 6 months different accrual schedule, so you can select or you can specify the period as 6 months. If you are doing for whole year, you will specify at here as 12 months. If you are doing for 1.5 year, you will specify at here 18, like that. Okay, once you have updated this 12 months, you will click on save. Okay, so once this is setup is done, the template, the second one is we'll go to the revenue and expenses deferral sheet parameter. Okay, so at here we have a different options. Okay, now you can see the amount, equal amount per period. This we will make it as yes. Okay, consolidate prior period, we will make it as yes. Let's imagine if you are doing the invoice on I mean you have booked the invoice from 1st December, and you are making this recognition, you have posted this particular transaction on 1st December, but you are doing the recognition process in February. Okay, January month, December month, and Feb month, these 3 months will be combined as a consolidated prior periods and posted in one record. And next onwards, when you the recognition process, it will be on monthly basis. Okay, other than that, at here you can see we have a recognition process. So at here, posting of general ledger, I mean when you click on recognition, so there will be a accrual entry will be flow. Okay, this accrual entry, do you want to post automatically or you want to post manually? So currently, if you enable this toggle as yes, it will post automatically. Okay, and at here you will define the journal batch number. So currently at here enable the accrual. So if you want to create any new journal batch number, you can specify over here. Okay, and you will click on save the record. That's it. So once this record has been saved, this is the parameter, main parameter configuration. Okay, so other than that, we have deferral default. Okay, this deferral default, what it will do, it you can specify directly over here what is my expenditure account, I mean on which account I need to specify my accrual. Okay, let's imagine you can see over here there is a vendor. uh, you can see at here we have already specified couple of things. So there is a vendor called AT NGI PJC. Okay, so at here I already have set up my prepaid insurance and insurance account. Okay, so we will see this particular conceptual how it will work, and we will see another manual deferral schedule. Okay, so with the help of deferral default also we can create. In deferral default, by default we have created with the accrual name, I mean we have already mapped the vendor, and if this vendor is creating the uh, invoices, So by default, the accrual schedule will be populated. So let's see how we can do the transaction. Okay, so I'm going to the AP invoice. We can do this particular transaction from GL also. I will do one transaction from AP invoice journal, and another one is from the journal. Okay, so accounts payable under invoice we have invoice journal. So at here I am selecting AP invoice lines. Okay, so at here I am selecting the vendor as NGI. Okay, so I have selected this particular vendor, NGI vendor. Okay, and at here I'm giving the invoice dates. Let's imagine I'm giving the invoice date on okay, and at here I'm giving the amount has I have given some random amount. Okay, 85,210. And you can see once I have entered the amount, you can see we have a deferral over here. So we will click on deferral. Okay, you will make it as yes. You can see when I click on deferral, it's stating that you don't have a deferral account available in this particular thing. Okay, so you click on OK, and at here let me select the prepaid insurance. Okay, now click on deferral. Okay, click on deferral as yes, and account type, you can see by default the account type is prepaid insurance and insurance account of recognition account, and you'll click on schedule. Okay, and click on schedule, and after that you have default, select on default. Okay, and at here you can see we have a preview. So if you click on this particular preview button, so it will display each month a record of transaction. Okay, let's imagine, let me go a step back. So at here we have an option called deferral start date. So from which period this particular accrual schedule will be start. Let's imagine you will receive the invoice in advance, stating that the invoice will be given on today, but the period of this accrual will start from the 27th of December. But you have received the invoice and you have made the payment on 1st of December. I mean, you have received the invoice on 1st of December, and 15th of December you have made the payment against this particular invoice. Once you have made the payment, within 1 week it will start the services for whole year. Okay, so at here you will have the deferral start date. Let's imagine my deferral start date is starting from 15th of December. Okay, and if I click on preview, it will display my transaction from 15th to 31st December, 31st Jan. What is my amount? Okay, so it is combining the prior 15 days and today this month value in one this one, and rest all the months it's equally splitted. Okay, let me go a step back. Okay, so at here if I disable this particular consolidated prior period, and if I click on preview, now you can able to view for each individual month. Like for example, if we have 16 days, 16 days what was the amount. Okay, and at the end what is the 15 days amount is there, that it will be displayed, and each individual month amount will be displayed over here. Okay, and after that you will click on OK. So this particular deferral will be updated in this particular line. Okay, now at here you can see we are receiving one warning message on top. This warning message is nothing but the combination of sales tax group and sales tax item sales tax group full is not valid. Okay, so what at here it is stating, if I scroll little bit towards my right side, you can see there is a sales tax group and item sales tax group. These two combination is not valid, it was saying. So let me remove this particular full. For time being there is no VAT. Okay, now after updating this particular transaction, okay, so at here what we are updating directly, my vendor my prepaid expenses will get debit and my vendor is getting credited. Okay, now let me post this particular PO AP invoices. Now this particular AP invoice has been posted. Okay, so once this AP invoice has been posted, we have a record will be created under deferral schedule. Now let me navigate to the subscription billing or deferral schedule. Okay, you can see this is the number 17, USMF 17. Let me click this particular USMF 17. Okay, now you can see in USMF 17 we have created today. So this is the if you want you can see the vendor number, and if you want more information on this particular thing, let me go a step back so that you can see the reference invoice number on. So this is the invoice number which we have created. Okay, now you can recognize this particular monthly by clicking on over here recognize. So once you click on recognize, this particular journal transaction will be posted. Okay, by clicking on recognize, this is the form which will be open, and at here you will give the cutoff date. Let's imagine the cutoff date is 31st December. Okay, and you will click on view transaction. So it will display as of cutoff date what was the amount is there. That particular line amount will be populated over here for this particular recognition journal, and you will click on process. So once you clicked on process, the entry will be posted automatically. Now at here, let me open this particular Excel. So in our AP first screen, what we have done it, this is the entry what we have entered, right? Okay, so during entry in accrual, this is what we have entered. Okay, after posting the voucher of AP invoice, so this is the by default accounting entry which is happened, and in accrual each month this is happening. Your accrual is getting debited and your prepaid insurance is getting credited. Now in deferral schedule, what we are doing, we are directly booking this particular record as deferral schedule based on this particular main account. It is based on this prepaid insurance account, and the vendor is auto populating your deferral schedule, and the deferral schedule what it's doing, your prepaid is getting created and this particular vendor is getting particular expense account is getting debited. Now if you see over here in this particular transaction level, okay, now I have posted one recognition journal. You can see one recognition journal has been created and it is posted. Okay, when I open this particular recognition journal, okay, lines, okay, let me click on voucher so that you can easily understand. So at here you can see my prepaid insurance is getting debited and prepaid insurance is getting credited. Insurance debit and prepaid insurance is credit. So if you see in this particular Excel, so this is happening on a monthly basis. When you click on recognize, that particular month is getting posted with this accrual entry, right? Now when I open this particular AP invoice of this particular transaction, let me go a step back. AP invoice. So under posted, okay, so this is the invoice which I have posted. If I click on voucher, now you can see my prepaid insurance is getting debited. Okay, you can see debit side balance, and my vendor is getting credited with credit balance. Okay, now this transaction is happening and this transaction is happening. This transaction is happening when you click on recognize on monthly basis. Okay, so these two conceptual is repeating same, but in accrual scheme we are posting on whole year at one shot, but in deferral schedule we are recognizing each individual month. That is the difference between accrual scheme and deferral schedule. Okay, any doubt? Let me create one more from journal so that you can easily understand. Journal ledger, journals, new. So here I am selecting the journal, lines. So here I am selecting account type as vendor. So here I am selecting some random vendor. Let's imagine I have selected some random vendor over here. Okay, after selecting some random vendor, I am giving the amount as some random amount I have given, and in offset account I am selecting the prepaid insurance. Okay, so in our last in our this previous scenario we have used the deferral schedule. Now in this case I'm not using the deferral schedule, so I will add manually the deferral account. Okay, now at here I have selected the prepaid insurance and I will click on deferral. So once I clicked on deferral, okay, this vendor having some issues. Let me select